Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Govs on the Go Alumni Edition, a podcast featuring alumni from the College of Arts and Letters here at Austin Peay State University. My name is Dr. Buzz Hoon. I'm the Dean of the college. I'm also the host of the podcast. And today we're talking with Will Roberts, who received not just one, but two degrees from Austin Peay in communication, a bachelor's in 2016 and a master's in 2018. Welcome to the podcast, Will. Hopefully I've gotten all that information correct.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Hoon. And yeah, that's all correct.
That's great. That's what I love to see, this succession of multiple degrees. That means you had success here and you were also probably very happy. We're going to talk about your time here at Austin Peay, but let's give everybody a life update. Where are you now? What's going on?
Yeah, so I live just south of campus in Nashville, and I'm the communications director for Ardent Health, which is based down in Brentwood.
Okay, great. We're going to talk more about what your job entails, but we're going to go back in time. And this recording is taking place in the summer. It always makes me think of growing up, jumping on my bike and doing fun summer things. What was it like? You said you grew up, I think, in Maryville,
Yeah, that's
Tennessee?
correct. The same summer, sort of the smell of dew on Bermuda grass brings about many memories growing up in sports. But yeah, I grew up in Maryville, which is a small town just southeast of Knoxville, and made my way through high school there. Wasn't really too involved in high school. And I guess my mom would tell you I probably underachieved on the academic side in high school. Um, and made my way to Austin Peay from there, but Maryville still has a heavy influence on me. My family's still based there. But yeah, that's where everything started for me.
So what were you doing when you were growing up? What kind of things were you involved in? What kind of things did you like to do?
Yeah, really big sports-based family. My sister and I both played multiple sports. I played baseball and football and basketball. So those had a big impact on my life. I played football all the way through high school. And then growing up, we spent a lot of time in the mountains. Being in East Tennessee, my grandfather, my mom's father, had a big impact on our love for the outdoors. Grew up fly fishing in the Smokies, and then grew up spending a lot of time at my grandparents' house, both sets during the summers. Big family, nuclear family, and we're continue to be tight knit even still today.
Wow, that's terrific. And I love the story of doing fly fishing. I've seen that take place. I've never actually seen anybody successful in catching fish, but it seems like it's such a beautiful place to be in the outdoors out there. I mean, what a place to grow up.
Yeah, it is. And I remember to fly fishing and not catching a lot. My grandfather, I remember growing up, told me if you can catch a rainbow trout in the Smokies, you can catch a fish anywhere. So
Oh.
I grew up doing that quite a bit. And yeah, that's my one complaint about Middle Tennessee is that it's just a little bit too far from the Smokies or the mountains. But I definitely have an affinity for the outdoors. And my family is actually based there. We have a lot of history in the national park that's still standing. When I get to go back home, it's definitely a special time.
That's awesome. So were involved in lots of sports, and you continued that probably in high school. You were involved with athletics at least throughout high school.
Yeah, I was, and I spent a little. I came to Austin Peay and was recruited to walk on the football team. I spent about 2 weeks in summer camp and decided it wasn't for me. Caused my parents a little bit of havoc on an anniversary trip. But when I made the decision to end my athletic career, I think they would agree that it turned out well otherwise at Austin Peay thereafter. But yeah, spent a lot of time in sports, and sports still play a big role in my life. I think we can learn a lot from team sports. And my family is plugged into uh, professional sports and college sports. I really enjoy getting to go up to Austin Peay football games and basketball games. That too still plays a big role in my life and brings a lot of enjoyment.
So, how did you get into the area of communication? You mentioned that you might have even started as a sports broadcaster. Was that something you were doing in high school?
It was. We had a pretty good media program at Maryville when I was there, and we had, I guess it was my junior, senior, maybe both. We actually got the tech and hardware to start broadcasting basketball games online. We had a three-camera setup and a switchboard and everything, and our instructor we had classes during the school day about how to operate all this equipment. And we really didn't have courses on broadcasting itself. So I hope nobody can find embarrassing clips of me and my high school friends online broadcasting high school basketball games. But it was really cool. We still learned the sort of small things about sort of miking up a basketball gymnasium for a
Sure.
game to get a good broadcast feel. And I think one of the funny stories when I was a senior, we had a new basketball court, brand new wooden basketball court, and the boys' game, which was after later in the evening, ran late or something. We didn't get to tear down before we left the building for the night. So we had a microphone under the scores table to get the noises off of the wood and some of the sound effects from the floor. And the crew that tore down the scores table and put it back didn't know the microphone was under the table. So our colors are black and red and sidelines painted black. They pull the scores table out and this microphone just scrapes the brand new black paint across the. So I'm sure that's been repaired since, but those are the early days of getting into the world of media. Um, uh, Really fun time, enjoyable time to do all that at such a young age.
Yeah, I laugh because I've gone through as a teacher many of those type of experiences. So I relate well to the stories of like that talk about sports production things gone sideways. So when you came here, you decide you're not going to play football. You're gonna experience other things. And boy, oh boy, did you start to get involved. What was the first thing? Okay, you decide not to do football. What is the first thing you got involved with that was outside the classroom?
So I guess I really do owe a lot to the communication department. I was conditionally admitted to Austin Peay due to my ACT score, so I had some support that was built in as a conditionally admitted student, and I still consider myself to be very fortunate that Mike Dunn was my APSU 1000 instructor.
Terrific guy.
And so being connected with him. I got connected with a group of friends and involved with a fraternity early on. And then with Mike's support, I started to do well academically and was able to join a fraternity. And then from there, it sort of took off. I guess my second semester of my freshman year, I really got my feet under me academically and socially. And understanding the importance of academics and how that was sort of the foundation for everything else that I would go on to do, was really key for me. Um, and then I took really a deep interest in communication and the subjects that also support that curriculum too, with political science and sociology. And outside of the classroom, I started getting interested in leadership in student organizations. And when I took my first leadership role within my fraternity, that sort of just start making me crave more. And I was able to manage pretty well, between student involvement and my academic successes along the way.
Well, let's talk about being involved with the fraternity and being involved in the Greek society in general, just so other students understand that that's a social part, but it's so important for not only, as you had mentioned, your self-confidence, getting
Hmm.
to bond with other people that make it worthwhile for you to want to achieve in the classroom, so you can continue to be a part of that group.
Right, and that was a big thing for me. So I had to get my academics had to be at a certain level so I could join an organization to begin with. But that to sustain that membership, you also have to sustain a certain level of academic performance, and you have that support built within an organization. So I was in Sigma Phi Epsilon, and from the get-go, the other members that I was involved with were already plugged in and doing well in the classroom and involved in other comp or aspects of campus life. So I aspired to want to do similar things, but it did sort of build a framework for me to have additional lines of support to keep my studies on track. I would with how I advanced academically, I took on and was able to be a better leader in student organizations, but also was encouraged to do service learning and study abroad along the way. So I really feel like that, whether it's a fraternity or any other kind of student organization, um, um, that there's support built within those, especially the ones that have academic rigor in the sort of membership base, to sort of help you drive your own success.
And I imagine some of those friends that you met in the fraternity are continue to be uh, important people in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in contact with many of them every day almost. So, and a lot of them are even still involved and work for the university. So it definitely had a great impact and lasting impact on me.
So among the things that you did, you became an RA. You also became a peer mentor, which
Mhm.
again, a great leadership example of then giving back, to others. And you also mentioned that you got involved with student government,
Mhm.
and just some examples of how you were finding that. So, did one thing lead to another to another?
I would say so. I think I found a good mix for me. And I didn't do all of those things concurrently while I was an undergraduate, but um, the peer mentor role I did hold for all the 3 years that I could do it. I really enjoyed getting to meet and work with and just give insights to folks in similar roles that I was in while also an undergrad. And then in student government, that sort of, I feel like my studies in PR and even political science, which was my minor, sort of encouraged me to follow a track there. And what I was learning in the classroom, I could apply in student government. Um, and so there were a lot of folks that had similar interests as I did and that were doing those things. So I explored those and found I was able to learn from it, but also have a positive impact on campus and other people too. So I kept taking on what I could take on. I saw, I think the admissions office posted something recently on Instagram. It was like, don't fall for the myth that you have to do everything or something like that. When it's true, it does seem like on paper that I just did everything I could, but I think it's really important to find a good mix of things. Like,
Mm.
don't just go to class, don't just go to student organization events and focus on like one thing or one thing alone, but find a good mix. And everything I did, I found more support, to be more successful. But I felt good doing things that helped me have an impact on campus, that were also a learning experience. So I think finding a good mix was really key for me, and that's what sort of led to my success, I guess, and set a good foundation for life after undergraduate years.
You mentioned Mike Dunn as a communication professor that impacted you. I also like that you noted two other people, Pam Gray and Tracy
Mhm.
Nichols. Can you talk about how they helped shape you?
Yeah, Dr. Gray and Dr. Nichols both, lessons I've learned from them, I pull from every day still.
Mm.
So I think I was thinking back on that, and those two in particular really taught me to sort of think outside the box in solving issues, and then also understanding your audience is probably the most important thing as a communications professional, is understanding your audience, and the different segments in your audience and how they're unique from one another, but also have sort of the same needs at the same time. I got to do, or I took a service learning course with Dr. Nichols, in which we spent spring break in London. And that course really was very immersive. We studied all these nonprofit communications, and then we went to London and saw how that had an impact on the ground and how what happens sort of on the front line with these not-for-profit organizations like the Red Cross, Habitat for Humanity, how that sort of that still that informs the message that's being developed by people that aren't necessarily working on restoring a home or working on stocking the shelves at a consignment store. But that class in particular really drove home with me that anything you communicate has a big impact on every part of your organization, and can impact the how well their mission is carried out, how well how good their reputation is in the public. But Dr. Gray and Dr. Nichols both, I really enjoy getting to see when I'm on campus still. But they've had a big impact, especially in my PR career.
Two crazy ladies in a golf cart,
That's
they
right.
trying to get them to get that show going again.
Yeah, I
But
think that was started while I was an undergrad, or at least it was on, they were doing it still while I was an undergrad.
well, we hope that in the next year we will see them in action again. And not only are they great professors doing that study abroad, really again is so beneficial for our students to go to another place to help strangers that in a strange country. It's just a unbelievable experience, and that opens up, I think, the window that we are part of a world. We are
Right.
now not just from Maryville, not just from Tennessee. We are world residents.
Yeah. And service learning is great. I took another service learning course, and it was more local, and I think it was with Dr. Hicks Goldson. And we developed campaigns for local nonprofits. So you may have heard of Walden's Puddle, which is between Clarksville and Nashville. But we got to develop a PR campaign for them and another organization. But service learning does give you the opportunity to learn, but then put what you're learning in action, and then you can see the impact it has directly. So those opportunities are arguably more impactful than anything else, in my opinion, while you are an undergraduate.
So you graduate in 2018. You go out into the workforce. What's your first job?
So my first full-time gig was with a PR firm here in Nashville, which was DVL Siegenthaler at the time. And I was still in grad school at Austin Peay when I started as an intern there. That led to a full-time role eventually, and that's when I sort of found my way into healthcare communications. I started off as more of a generalist with the accounts that I served in the firm, and then got more specialized in the healthcare provider space as time went on.
Okay, so working in that for how long?
So I'm now I would say I'm fully healthcare
Well,
communications.
no, I mean with that first job because
With
I'm
that
trying to.
firm, I was there for about 2.5 years.
Okay, because
Yeah.
that would match up with the pandemic. Uh,
Right. So
and-
right before the pandemic, I switched over to a healthcare specific firm called Gerard, which is also here in Nashville. And I was there for about 2 months before we were sent home. And
so
as you can imagine, healthcare communications during that time were very, very unique.
Well, we all had to adapt, and part of that was, uh, whether or not you were sent at home. I mean, for instance, the reason I started doing podcasts like this was to reconnect people because I felt like our students, for example, were feeling isolated. They didn't feel connected to the rest of the world, especially if they were getting closer towards being out there. So what was the experience for you and how did it impact you?
Yeah, the isolation was tough on me. Outside of the work, which remained constant for me, fortunately, throughout the pandemic. I know a lot of folks weren't able to work throughout the pandemic, but being isolated at home was tough. And I still, after the pandemic, I took, for a brief time, I transitioned to a larger firm based in Chicago, but I was fully remote here and it wasn't the most enjoyable. But that time period, as we did adapt, people were still trying to figure out which technology platform was the best for doing this. Was it Teams? Was it Zoom? Was it WebEx? Was it something else? Um, so the sort of frustration we had of getting used to our new day to day, not knowing how long that was actually going to be the day to day, and then not having the foresight of this is going to impact how we work forever. Um, it was tough at first, and then you sort of add on in my role, we're really navigating the balance of accuracy and urgency, um, and communicating for health systems during that time. We were sort of battling misinformation, trying to help ensure safety, and then also helping nurses and doctors stay informed of things that seemed simple in the past, of like when they need to show up, or what they need to do when they show up, or what
Mm,
they need to do when they leave. Um, so that time, it seems so long ago, but then at the same time, it feels like it was yesterday.
yeah. And during, yeah, as you said, you come into the realization that this is an area that you like to work in. So what are the joys? What brings you joy in this job?
I think the joys come from knowing that what we do helps bring access to healthcare and improves access to care. Um, a lot of the hospitals in the organization that I work for now are rural, and then we have clinics out within the communities. But having an impact at the end of the day and knowing what my work does can have a positive impact on people, whether that's, help building trust in their health system, helping them find a health system, or helping them understand that they have world-class care just down the street. That really brings joy to me is knowing that impact of what we do as communicators can have on the communities we serve.
Yeah. Well said. What are the big challenges that you still have to face?
I think in healthcare comms, it really is balancing accuracy and urgency. Um, when there are crisis situations such as the pandemic, or if there is an issue that we're navigating in really complex regulatory industry, um, that those can be more challenging times, and it's like I said, trying to sort of thread the needle of sharing accurate information in a way that's most effective and helps build trust and brings clarity to people when it really might not be regularly available in the mainstream news or just hasn't been communicated clearly otherwise.
Now, the way we met, you and I, we met at an Austin Peay recruiting event, and
Mhm.
that's because you stay involved with Austin Peay, which is terrific. And tell us why you've decided to do that.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like Austin P has given so much to me. Any success that I've had in my career and as a student, I feel like I owe back to the university and the folks that make it go. I referenced the communications department, the communication department earlier. There are other folks in administration along the way that have I share a similar sentiment for. Um, in any way that I can give back, whether that's in volunteer roles on the National Alumni Board or as a member of an advisory council on student affairs, I enjoy getting those opportunities and sharing my opinion based on my experience and where I sit currently of how the university can better serve students and be better position in the community to grow and continue to thrive.
Well, I can tell you, well, I don't know how you feel that you started, but I can tell you how you're finishing, and it's an awesome story. Your testimony really gives, I think, a lot of students the faith and hope that they are maybe in the same situation, and this is a nice road that details how you can become involved and how you can succeed and gain confidence, because I think that was probably just something that was missing at some point, and you have become a very confident and very successful, and I'm very happy that we were able to tell your story today.
I appreciate it. I definitely enjoy being able to have opportunities like this to speak with you and be back on campus from time to time.
One last thing, what kind of recommendations do you have for our students?
I think one thing that I learned, and Dr. Nichols sort of pressed upon us in undergrad, is never stop learning. And no matter where you are or in what role you're in, never stop seeking opportunities to learn something new. It'll better you in whatever you're doing or whatever you might do. And then also don't shy away from taking a risk every now and again, whether that's making a leap in your career
Hmm.
or just doing something new. I think both of those things will be enriching for folks along the way.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. For somebody that's still very early in their career, I think that's some great advice.
I
Great
appreciate
again
it.
having you on, Will.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here and would be happy to do it again.
And thanks to all of our listeners and viewers out there for joining us on the podcast. We hope that you will continue to join us as we profile some of the outstanding alumni we have here in the College of Arts and Letters at Austin Peay State University. So until next time, stay safe, take care, and God bless.